How far would you go to keep your family safe, even in paradise? Our vacation started with laughter, but one wrong step put everything at risk. By the time you hit 50, you think you've seen it all. Flights delayed, family dramas at Thanksgiving, the usual migraines of adulthood. So when Linda insisted we finally disconnect from the noise, rent a cabin somewhere wild and drag the kids, plus old Hank, our golden retriever, into the heart of the Amazon, I pretended to be excited. That's marriage. That's life. We landed in Brazil on a Monday, the kind of thick, wet heat that makes your t-shirt feel like a burden. The guide, Marcos, smiled with too many teeth, tossing our bags in the Jeep like we were luggage ourselves. Sam and Rachel, my teenagers, glued to their phones even as we crossed a rickety bridge over a river so green it looked fake. Linda, always the optimist, filmed it all on her ancient camcorder. Family memories, she chirped. I took the back seat with Hank, our aging retriever, who was already panting, tongue out, brown eyes full of trust. I scratched behind his ears. You and me, buddy. Vacation warriors. His tail thumped, splashing mud up my khakis. Marcos cackled. No fear in the jungle, amigo. Only respect. We reached the cabin at sunset, sweat-soaked and slightly lost. Jungle noises filled the air, chirps, croaks, and somewhere, the slow grinding whir of something massive moving through underbrush. I'd grown up in a city where the only wild animal was the neighbor's feral cat. This was different. Primal. That night, Linda led us in a family gratitude circle. We went around naming something good from the day. Sam, not dead yet. Rachel, no Wi-Fi, so Dad can't check emails. Even Hank gave a sleepy woof when his turn came. It was silly, but warm, a bubble of safety in a wild world. But right after, the first injustice. As I tucked Rachel into her hammock, the cabin, true to the website, was rustic. She whispered, "Dad, is it true people go missing here?" I laughed, brushed it off, and left her with the travel flashlight. When I closed the door, I heard Linda and Sam fighting quietly in the kitchen. Something about trust, about why Sam had wanted to stay home. I was tired. I let it go. You always tell yourself it'll be better in the morning. That night, the air was thick, every shadow alive. As I tried to sleep, I heard Linda crying softly in the next room. Old wounds, old fights, replaying in paradise. I felt Hank curl up by my side, his body a barrier against whatever waited in the dark. But the rustling outside was getting closer. To this day, I still wonder, if I'd paid more attention to the fear in Rachel's eyes, the tension in Linda's voice, the twitch in Hank's nose, could I have stopped what came next? What do you do when the thing you fear most isn't what's lurking in the jungle, but what's been hiding in your own family all along? Sleep in the jungle is a fragile thing. That night, it was smashed to pieces by a scream, high, shrill, real. Rachel's. I shot up, heart hammering, as Hank bounded out ahead of me, barking, crashing into the flimsy door. Outside, the world was chaos. The moonlight scattered across the yard, lighting up overturned chairs, Sam clutching his phone, white-faced, and Rachel, her hammock empty, the flashlight rolling in the dirt. She was 10 feet away, frozen, eyes locked on the darkness. And then I heard it, a low, heavy rustle, a sound so big it made your skin crawl. Hank lunged. I followed. The underbrush parted, and I saw it, thick as my thigh, glinting green and gold in the pale light. An anaconda, coiled, its head already lifting toward my daughter. I did what any father would do. I threw myself between them, yelling, arms wide. Foolish. The snake surged forward, impossibly fast, and wrapped itself around my legs. Panic and pain shot through me. I tried to pry it off, but its scales felt like living steel. Sam shouted, "Dad!" Linda was behind him, clutching a frying pan. But it was Hank, brave, stupid, wonderful Hank, who really moved. He dove at the snake, teeth bared, barking louder than I'd ever heard. He sank his jaws right into the thing's back. The snake hissed, furious, its grip tightening around my legs. I thought, absurdly, of my old boss back in Cleveland, how he'd squeeze people till they gave in. I almost laughed, even as I felt my breath going shallow. Rachel was crying now, Linda yelling at Sam to do something, but it all blurred together. That's when Sam did something I never expected. He leaped in, swinging a stick, beating at the snake's head with a desperation I'd never seen in my gentle boy. The anaconda recoiled, loosened just enough. Hank, emboldened, tore again at its side. Blood splattered, black in the moonlight. With a final surge, the snake released me and slithered off into the night, leaving a torn patch of grass and a family forever changed. I crumpled to the ground, lungs burning, vision tunneling. Rachel threw herself into my arms. Hank collapsed beside us, tail thumping weakly. Linda sobbed, part relief, part terror. For a moment, the only sound was the jungle breathing around us. I looked at my family, at the dog who'd nearly died for us, and wondered, what does it take to hold a family together in the wild? And what else was waiting for us, just out of sight? How do you forgive the ones you love when fear turns them into strangers? After that night, the jungle wasn't our only enemy. Suspicion began to grow inside our family. After the anaconda vanished, leaving only chaos and claw marks, our vacation paradise turned into a pressure cooker. Sam nursed a swollen wrist, Rachel refused to sleep, and Linda, usually the rock, walked around like a ghost, silent and pale. I tried to be the anchor. We're safe now. It's over. But I could hear my own voice trembling, the lie too heavy for even the thick Amazon air. The guides came at dawn, wild-eyed. Marcos gaped at the mess, then at my bruised legs. You fought an anaconda? The disbelief in his voice was like a slap. One more way I failed to protect my family. I shrugged it off, the American who didn't know when to run. Linda laughed bitterly. Well, at least now you'll have something to brag about at work, right? The sarcasm stung. For years, Linda and I had handled stress with dark humor, but today it landed wrong. Hank limped over to me, pressing his battered head into my palm. His loyalty cut deeper than any words. I scratched his ears, staring at my wife. We should go home. I meant it, but she flinched, as if home was a dirty word. Breakfast was silent, except for jungle birds mocking us with their endless chatter. Sam scrolled his phone obsessively, even though there was no signal. Rachel hid behind a book she wasn't reading. Linda cleaned the already spotless kitchen. I watched them all, realizing the anaconda hadn't just wrapped itself around me last night, it had sunk its teeth into all of us. By afternoon, the rain started. The kind that drowns your thoughts, turns dirt paths into rivers. The guide said we should stay inside, the roads would be impassable. Sam exploded. We can't just wait here for another snake to show up. Linda snapped back. Do you have a better plan? They fought. Rachel began to cry. Hank whimpered, and I felt something in me crack. I grabbed the deck of cards, dumped it on the table. Family poker night, winner gets to choose our next vacation. A weak attempt at normal, but it worked. Slowly, hands reached for the cards. Even Rachel, sniffling, joined in. For a moment, the storm outside was background music. But halfway through the game, Linda put her cards down. Why didn't you wake me up last night? Why did you go out there alone? She stared at me, wounded. I wanted to say, because I'm your husband, because I love you, because I thought I was strong enough. But all I managed was, I was scared too. Sam threw his cards down. We're all scared. Maybe we should talk about it. The room grew heavy. It wasn't just the anaconda. There were old wounds here, resentments, secrets, little betrayals. Linda's eyes shimmered with old pain. I'm tired of pretending we're okay. She was talking to me, but her gaze flicked to Sam, to Rachel. I've been tired for years. No one moved. The storm hammered the roof. I felt a surge of anger, at myself, at the jungle, at the world for turning a family vacation into a therapy session. But I swallowed it. Hank's head rested on my knee, warm and grounding. Rachel whispered, I just want us to go home. I looked at my family, my wounded, beautiful, broken family, and saw, for the first time in years, the fear behind every sharp word and rolling eye. The jungle hadn't changed us. It had only stripped away our walls. But what would happen now, with all our secrets out in the open? When trust is broken in the wild, who do you turn to? The ones who hurt you, or the ones who saved you? The rain didn't stop for 2 days. We ran low on food, low on patience, high on memories no one wanted. Linda drifted from room to room, restless, her eyes red from crying. Sam sat by the window, sketching monsters that looked suspiciously like snakes. Rachel clung to Hank, refusing to leave his side. Even Marcos, our guide, started to look rattled. On the 3rd day, the sun finally pierced the clouds. A steamy, dizzying brightness flooded the jungle. The guides radioed in, roads were clear, rescue jeeps on the way. The promise of escape should have been a relief. Instead, it felt like defeat. We'd survived, sure, but what would we bring back home with us? Bruises, nightmares, old arguments, and a dog with battle scars. Packing was tense. Linda tossed clothes into bags, barely looking at me. We'll talk when we're home, she muttered. Sam snapped, why wait? We're already here. Rachel started crying again, clutching Hank. I felt like a stranger in my own family. On the drive back, Marcos tried to make small talk. You see anaconda, you see yourself, eh? Face your fear, come out stronger. I managed a smile. If only it were that easy. At the airport, waiting for our flight, Linda finally broke. I can't do this anymore. Not the fighting, not the pretending. She looked at me, then at the kids. I almost lost you. All of you. And I realized, I don't even know who we are anymore. I felt something snap inside, but not in the way I expected. Not anger, just exhaustion. Maybe it's time we stop running. From each other, from ourselves. Rachel leaned in, voice shaking. I thought Dad was going to die. And all I could think was, I never told him I was scared. Or that I miss how we used to be. Sam looked away, blinking hard. The four of us sat in the sticky airport heat, silent. I reached over, put my hand on Linda's. For the first time in years, she didn't pull away. Hank rested his head on all our feet, closing the circle. We'd survived the jungle. But our real battle, our family, was just beginning. But what none of us knew was that our return home would reveal secrets even the jungle couldn't hide. Can a family survive the truth if it's finally spoken out loud? Back home, old secrets claw their way into the open, and nothing will ever be the same. We landed in Cleveland looking like survivors of a shipwreck. Linda's hair wild and knotted, Sam limping, Rachel pale and silent, Hank wearing a rough patch of shaved fur over his stitches like a medal of honor. Customs eyed us but didn't ask. What could we say? Family vacation. Bitten by the wild. At home, everything felt wrong. The air was thin and sharp, the walls too white. The house, our safe place, suddenly looked like a showroom for lives we no longer lived. Linda went straight to the laundry, throwing clothes in the washer as if scrubbing off the jungle. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the mail pile, bills, junk, a faded postcard from my mother I never bothered to answer. Sam disappeared to his room, Rachel curled up with Hank on the old couch. The tension followed us, ghostly, electric. 2 nights in, the fuse blew, Sam at dinner, snapping his fork down. So what, we just pretend none of it happened? That you and Dad don't fight? That Rachel never cries? That I'm not angry all the time? Linda flinched. Sam, please. No, I'm done pretending. His voice broke, raw. I almost watched Dad die. And you, both of you, you just keep acting like the real danger is each other. Silence. Rachel's fork trembled in her hand. I felt every word as a punch to the gut. Linda, eyes shining, I'm scared too. I've been scared for years. That we'd fall apart. That we already have. That's when Rachel, always the quiet one, found her voice. We never talk about Dad losing his job. Or how Mom started working nights. Or how I had to switch schools and lost my friends. Or how Hank's the only one who ever seems happy anymore. The truth landed like thunder. I tried to swallow the shame, of pride, of secrets, of thinking I could keep everyone safe by pretending nothing was wrong. My turn. You're right. I messed up. I lost the job and I lied. I said it was a layoff, but it was my fault. I was too proud to tell you. I thought if I just kept smiling, maybe you'd all be okay. Linda looked at me, hurt but softer. I was angry you didn't trust me. I took extra shifts instead of coming home. I blamed you instead of saying I was scared, too. We all stared at each other. The room felt empty and full at once. For the first time, we weren't performing, we were just 4 people, plus a dog, raw and messy, but real. Hank whined, thumped his tail, and somehow that was the permission we needed. Sam started laughing, a wild, half-sobbing laugh. We survived an anaconda and we can't even get through dinner. Rachel joined in, tears streaming. Linda reached across the table, took my hand. I squeezed back, not as a husband trying to be strong, but as a partner finally letting go. We stayed like that a long time. No more masks. No more everything's fine. Just truth. That night, after the kids went to bed, Linda and I sat in the dark living room, Hank snoring between us. "Are we going to be okay?" she whispered. "I don't know," I said. "But at least now we're together." The jungle had nearly broken us. But maybe, just maybe, it had stripped away enough to let us start over.